Hi, I am Midge Shoemaker, and this is the book that I wrote, Lanoya and the Teachers of Powers, by me, Midge Shoemaker. And I have decided to come up with this crazy idea to read a chapter a week in my book for anybody that wants to kind of know about my book a little bit more. Just for kicks, just for fun. And of course, if you don't want to wait an entire week, you can always go buy the book. That's an option too. It is available on Amazon and Kindle version. So, first of all, I should open my book. That would be a good beginning, right? So, I'm going to flip to, I don't know if I've done this for everybody, but I'm going to flip to the front. These are kind of images, circles in the circle of stones, images. These are ones that my publisher made up based off of the drawings that I did, but it's not really what I envisioned, I guess. I mean, it's close, but my friend did a little bit different on the book cover when she did the book cover with different symbols. So, biggest thing here, I did not write any descriptions of the symbols in the book. I'm hoping people will just make up their own version of that. So, not really important, but just kind of cool to have something there. This is just kind of a little mini map. It will get more intense, the map, with future books. But for now, this is all that's really important, is the chapel, the palace, the main entrances, and the locations. So there is that. In the back of the book, there is, I will not go over this in the back of the book, but there is this is called a dictionary, I guess. Anyway, it's just kind of the terminologies that I will be using in the book. And then there is a description, a list of all the teachers of powers, and kind of a description of all the powers of the land, which most of will be discussed in the book. And again, if you want that information, you can buy the book. So this is my book. Where's my pages? Okay, so then the beginning says dedicated. This isn't coming out very good. I apologize. I'm trying to hold my phone and read a book. It doesn't work very good. Okay, so this is a dedication to my friend and mentor, Betsy Love, who taught me how to write to readers, and to my friend Alma for being my personal cheerleader when it comes to writing. I'm going to flip this and see if that works better. Nope. All right. Also, my friend Jennifer Hall is the one that did the book cover, designed the book cover for me. So she should definitely get credit for that as well. Okay. So, Chapter 1, An Orphan. See if I can read this. Lanoya shivered under her. Oh, also, I don't do random voices either. I'm very bad at that. So you're just going to have to read along as I do this. So Chapter 1. Lanoya shivered under her tattered blanket. Is the light gone already? She slid her arm away from her face. Sure enough, the light was fading. The orphan yawned and stretched out her arms and legs. I wonder what things the people will leave out for me to create with. Her fingers danced in anticipation. A tingling sensation ran down her arms, and her eyes widened. She soaked in the last rays of light as they climbed the wall of her alley. She smiled and peered toward the end of the alley that opened onto the streets of Thayers, a small village in the kingdom of Espanglanja. Lanoya did not see anyone, although she heard shouting and clanging noises, indicating the village had not yet gone to sleep. A tall, skinny, older boy came running into the alley. Tripped over her and fell flat on his face. He flipped over to his back and scooted into some broken crates along the wall. Daft orphan, what did you trip me for? He pricked his hand on a shard of wood. Ow! You and your cursed trash are going away. Lanoya pulled her legs into her chest and rubbed her ankle. She glared at the cruel boy and pointed at the street. Get out! The boy scoffed. I'm going to be praised by the villagers for ridding them of you and your curse. He grabbed her blanket with his bloody hand. Then he shoved a broken crate toward her and hid under the blanket. Lanoya stood up. I am not leaving. This is my alley. The villagers insist this is my home. There is always food by the bakery in the even, and each season someone leaves me new clothes. 3 moons ago I found these trousers and this shirt in my alley. The boy poked out his head. Keep quiet. I cannot be seen speaking with you. He ducked back under her blanket. It's my blanket. It's the one thing my parents must have left for me. It has been here as long as I have. If he does not want to be around me, he should not be in my alley. Lenoya reached for the blanket, but was stopped by strong, thick fingers pressing into her arms. She was yanked away from the boy and her blanket. The scrawny girl turned her head to find a man's bushy face and ice-cold blue eyes boring into hers. "Are you the rat what's been stealing my leathers?" She shook her head. "Leathers? What do I need leathers for?" He grabbed her other arm and shook her. You best not be lying to me, you little annoying orphan. I will take you to the palace myself and see you as properly punished unless you returns my leathers." The girl dug her heels into the ground and leaned away from the creepy man, struggling to free herself from his grip. "Let me go. I promise I do not know anything about your leathers. I have been sleeping all sun in the alley. Ask that stupid boy that took my blanket." The man snarled and spit. "Your aunt was right to put you here. 11 seasons and you still a little annoying liar, and nobody wants." He yanked the orphan up, shoved her under his arm, and carried her out of the alley. Lenoya pushed against the man's broad chest. "Aunt? What aunt? I do not have an aunt. I do not have any family. No one in the village wants anything to do with me. I am known only as the little annoying orphan. There is only me, my alley, and my blanket." He squeezed her closer to him and pressed her face into his musty shirt. She could taste the dirt. "I do not know who the troublesome boy was, but this is all his fault." The man threw her into a cart. Lenoya tried to scramble out of it, but he yanked her back down and wrapped a rope around her waist. The man pulled her hands behind her and tied them to the wooden slats on the side of the wagon with the same long rope that was around her waist. He shouted, "I'd be taking this thief to the palace. I'd be back on the morrow." There was no reply. Lenoya stared at the ugly man bounding around the wagon to the front. The boy in the alley was wrong. The people in the village are not celebrating that I am being forced from my home. I doubt they would care if I stayed either. She caught a glimpse of the baker woman before the wagon jerked forward. The baker turned her back on the orphan, as did all the other people as they passed. The bony orphan girl bounced up and down, and the rope cut into her wrists. "I used to watch the wagons roll by and imagine how fun it would be to ride in one. This is not fun at all. I would rather be in my alley with my blanket, drawing the life I imagine in the alley's mud." She focused on the wooden structures they passed to avoid the pain in her wrists. A dim haze on the horizon outlined the structures and Thayer's. The tingling sensations returned, masking the pain from the ropes. Lenoya's eyes opened wider. The lines on the home stood out the way the wall did and the way the wall in her alley did. The houses were all similar. The only differences are the heights of the fences in the front. Nothing worth imitating or recreating. Once I made sparkly little houses with lots of roofs and windows. I used different cloths, bits of wood and mud. I left it out to thank the villagers for the stuff they leave for me to create with. They got angry, kicked it, stomped on it, and threw the pieces at me." She sighed. The smidgen of remaining light did not reveal any more color to her dull village than was visible in the even sky. The girl searched the heavens for the stars, which was difficult while bouncing in the wagon. None sparkled yet. The route they traveled was not lit. Dark shadows lined the roads. All she could hear was the clump of the horse's hoofs. The ropes dug deeper into her wrists with each bounce of the cart. I wish the tingling would come back so the pain would go away. Her face felt hot with anger as she twisted her hands, trying to remove the ropes. "I did not steal anything. I only take what the villagers do not want. Some throw things into the alley for me. That is where I should be. Or I could be sneaking across the pass for the crumbs by the baker's house, or scraps the dogs have not gotten to." Her stomach rumbled in agreement. "Once free of this ugly man, I am going home to my alley. I hope no one else messes about with my creations. The villagers will destroy my work if they find it. My stuff is not cursed like that boy said. I have to return before it's all gone." She blinked back the angry tears. The long, bumpy cart ride came to an abrupt stop. The spry orphan would have slid out were it not for the ropes holding her in place. "I will be escaping the moot. He unties me." The man mumbled to himself. "The palace gate be closed. Now I has to take the thief to the guard." The child positioned herself to jump once she was free of her bonds. I am not going to the guard or the palace. I refuse to be punished for this. The cruel man removed the rope from her hands, but it was still tied around her waist. She sprang from the cart, but he yanked her back with the rope. Her stomach knotted from the pain. The man's disgusting breath moistened her ear. You is not going anywhere, girl. I is taking you to see the king hisself. The orphan cringed and jerked away from him. He tugged the rope, dragging her towards the palace walls and its guard. Fire burned atop each corner of the walls, illuminating the dark road, casting shadows on the gate and catching her attention. A large set of doors closed in the center of the towering wall. Energy flowed through her. It is magnificent. It is magnificent. I must etch it into the ground or build a smaller version of it. But how? The girl's fingers rubbed against the itchy rope in search of the knot to release its hold on her. If I could get away. I could find supplies to create. Her hands shook from the energy growing inside her. I do not recall my energy being this intense. It must be all the new things for me to imitate. She searched the area. The need to create equaled her desire to escape. I saw trees along the path. Perhaps there are more I can hide in, and maybe I could use the branches to make something. The cruel man tugged the rope. The pain zapped the energy out of her, and she was forced to follow him to the palace gates. That is the end of chapter 1. Like I said, if you want more, I will read the next chapter next week. Thanks. Bye.